think of children, if you like. What happens when you just basically keep saying, poor baby, and keep giving them what they want, or just feeling sorry for them. They start to become very fragile. They start to see themselves as being fragile. If every time they fall over or something goes wrong, you react and poor thing, they start to feel that way. They start to feel as if they are fragile. You wrap them in cotton wool too much, again they start to feel fragile. Why else would you wrap them in cotton wool otherwise? Yes, you only wrap things in cotton wool if they're fragile. So the child that gets wrapped in cotton wool becomes fragile because you're giving it that message that it is fragile. And what you actually want instead is structure. Yes, you want to set some goals, you want to set some boundaries, you want to set the belief that the child can achieve the thing that they want to achieve, rather than say, oh well, just give up because it's just too difficult. Yeah, that's the unstructured. Obviously, you don't want it to turn bullishness and anything tyrannical. So you want a nice structure that helps overcome the chaos, and then that brings out the real nurture, which is obviously appropriate care, everything that's healthy. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. I know it's a bit vague, all of this, but we're looking to get rid of anxiety. So I'm doing it on the fly. So you have to forgive me. Can't think. My brain's boiling under this sun. So I'm going to go for. We've done absent feminine, tyrannical masculine, chaotic feminine, tyrannical masculine, absent masculine, chaotic feminine. So those are, I think, 3 negatives. I think those are the 3 negative ones that you get. I can't say for certain, but I think, because my brain's boiled it. But I think those are the ones. The final issue with anxieties is if you become well boundaried, if you become kind towards yourself, if you become reliable, if you become supportive of yourself, if you become all these things, then your anxiety obviously does subside. But there is an issue with it. There is a final issue with anxiety that is quite beyond overcoming with psychological process, and that's the reality of existence. Everything you have, everything that you are, everything you've achieved, everything will be taken away from you. We all know this. We all die. We all become infirm. We all fade. Everything fades. Everything disappears. There's nothing permanent save 2 things. And the 2 things permanent are God, yes, and your spirit. Now, how you want to look at that, tractor, how you want to say that is up to you. You can look at God as God, whatever you want to term him. Yes, everybody can have their own view of that, but it's basically the greater than I. Yeah, something that is permanent, and something that's permanent within yourself, if you wish to believe in that. Your spirit, your soul, whatever that is. Okay, now you have an unconscious anxiety that you won't be able to overcome, as I said, because you have an understanding that you're going to die fundamentally, and that's not a great thing for most people. The idea that they're going to die. Now, some people say, well, I don't worry about such things, but as I said, there's going to be an unconscious element to that, because you're not really completely reliable. When I say make yourself psychologically reliable, you are to a degree, but in the final analysis, you're not going to be. You're going to fall to bits. So there's a need to basically, obviously, develop, as I've said, psychologically, but also there's a need to sort of deal with the unconscious side to it. And you deal with the unconscious side by making a connection. Well, this is what I would do, yes, with God. Yeah, forming a relationship with something that is permanent, that does not fade, that does not exist, that basically says, you know, what goes on in this world is okay, it's a journey, it's for learning, but in the end, you're more than this. So it'll be okay. And by saying that it'll be okay, you get beyond the unconscious anxiety of death, fading, falling to bits, old age, disease, and so on and so forth. At least that's the attempt anyway. Obviously all these things are just attempts. So those are the two aspects of anxiety you really want to get rid of. You want to overcome, rather, what is, you know, your conscious anxiety, your self-inflicted anxiety, that's come from your formative years, which is then maintained by you in the way that you exist. You overcome that, and then there's the anxiety relating to the actual how would I say it, nature of existence, the impermanence of it all. And you overcome that by recognizing actually that you have a permanence. You have a permanence in God, and you have a permanence in your soul. And so you can step beyond that. So there you go, Anxiety 101, 101 from the Camino by a man who has cooked his brains. Okay, I apologise if there are mistakes in what I've said and it's been a bit rambly, but hey, I'm hot, my brain's cooked. So there you go. Right. Something just occurred to me with regard to anxiety. People often ask me, people who believe in God, you know, let's say Muslims, Christians, often ask me the question, it's more of a statement, they say, well, if I believe in God, if I follow the dictates of my religion, etc., how is it that I'm anxious? I shouldn't be anxious. If I properly follow the dictates of my religion, I shouldn't be anxious. And the answer to that question is, yeah, you shouldn't be anxious, but it depends on what you're doing, the type of anxiety you're talking about. If you follow your religion and believe in God and trust in God and so on and so forth, the anxiety that you have with regard to your mortality and the idea that everything fades and nothing lasts and everything will be taken from you as a process through your life, you know, kingdoms rise and fall, you know, dynasties rise and fall, everything fades, and the anxiety surrounding that, yes, obviously is going to be lessened or non-existent. But the other side of it, the treatment that you receive from you on a daily basis will outweigh that, and that will create a massive anxiety. If you're constantly neglecting, abusing, or whatever yourself, the anxiety that creates is massive, and it will outshine. I don't like the word shining when I talk about anxiety, but it will swamp, yes, any gain you get from your religion, because you're doing it all the time, you're doing it constantly. So yes, your religion should help you, a belief system should help you, but if you are offsetting that with basically neglect, self-abuse and this type of thing, then its gains will be outweighed by the daily grind of you harming yourself. So, as I said earlier, there's a need to take both approaches. Yeah, I don't believe having a religious approach, as in just a belief in God and spirit and this type of thing, will outweigh self-abuse. But if you actually follow religion properly, I don't suppose there's any religion out there that says you should be beating yourself up. I suspect most, if not all, would say be kind to yourself, helpful towards yourself, be generous towards yourself, and others. So there's your thought. Okay, so I'll let that go off into the wind. We're walking through this little forest and it smells divine. I mean, really, really. It smells like incense. Usually you get pine, and I love the smell of pine. The pine forest from my childhood in Spain, lovely. And there is a sense, there's a little bit of pine in this, so it's kind of a mixture of pine and incense, and just maybe, you know, Apple could develop a camera that also recorded smell, you know, smell-o-vision. Because, how does this smell, darling?
It's difficult to describe, I don't know.
But is it good?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
It's an incense, the smell.
It's lovely. Anyway,
Bark.
climbing over this thing.
I'd like to see it from you.
You hear the crickets. I love that noise. I don't mean the traffic. I suppose with regard to anxiety, mathematically speaking, there are a few other combinations of the masculine and feminine. For example, the nurturer, the nurturing feminine, and the tyrannical masculine, or the chaotic feminine and the supportive boundaried, structured masculine. I've never come across a situation where those two pairs occur ever, because they're at odds with each other. I don't think you could actually, you know, be a truly nurturing, have a truly nurturing feminine side while it was in a contest with a tyrannical masculine side. Nor do I think you could have an out of control, chaotic feminine side whilst having a well-boundaried masculine element. I don't think the combination of those elements, those energies, coexist. People can argue that if you wish, and maybe give me a million examples, but whilst walking this road in the sunshine with a boiled brain, I can't think of anybody I've come across that has been like that. So the three that we've given, are fundamentally the ones that cause anxiety and problems. I suppose there is one more, just thinking about it now, absent masculine and absent feminine. But for the sake of me, I can't think what that would bring out. A person that was neither nurturing nor chaotic, structured nor tyrannical. I'd have to think on it a lot, and I'm not gonna. It's too warm, it's 40 degrees. So, yeah. Anyway, if I think of anything else, I'll babble on, because hey, this is Babylon television. This is us entering the land of Rioja. There you go. Rioja land. Across the bridge into Rioja land. Be careful of the trolls under the bridge, obviously. Obviously the Rioja trolls. And you've crossed the border.